The security camera footage showed a man in his 50s scrubbing dishes in the restaurant kitchen at 2 a.m. His hands were red and blistered from the hot water. Dark circles marked his eyes. This was James Morrison, CEO of Golden Plate Restaurants, now working undercover as a dishwasher named Mike. He stopped washing when he heard soft crying from the break room. Sarah, the night shift supervisor, sat alone, looking at a medical bill. Her young daughter needed surgery, but her salary barely covered rent. This moment would change everything. James thought he knew about his company. Hi everyone, welcome to Mystic Tales. Let's get started. James walked into the busy kitchen through the back entrance at 11 p.m. His new uniform felt stiff, and the non-slip shoes pinched his feet. The night manager, Tom, barely looked up from the order tickets. "You must be Mike, the new dishwasher. Sarah will show you around," Tom said, pointing to a woman in her 30s organizing takeout containers. Sarah had tired eyes, but a kind smile. "First time doing night shift?" she asked. "Yes, I needed a second job," James said, using the coverall he had practiced. The kitchen was different at night. Steam filled the air. Phones rang constantly with late-night delivery orders. The skeleton crew moved quickly, doing jobs meant for twice as many people. "The dish pit is here. We're short-staffed, so you will need to help with prep work too," Sarah said. She showed him how to operate the industrial dishwasher. The heat from the machine made the small space feel like a sauna. James watched the staff work. Carlos, the line cook, moved between multiple stations alone. He limped slightly, but never slowed down. Maria, the server, carried heavy trays while taking phone orders. They worked in sync, helping each other without being asked. During a brief slow period, James heard Carlos talking to Sarah. "My leg is acting up again. The doctor says I need physical therapy, but insurance won't cover it." "Still hurts from the accident last year?" Sarah asked. "Yes, but I can't take time off. My kids need new school supplies," Carlos said, checking the grill temperatures. The dish pit was relentless. Every time James thought he was catching up, more bins arrived. His hands burned from the hot water. His back ached from lifting heavy stacks of plates. He now understood why they couldn't keep dishwashers. At 2 a.m., Maria came to the dish pit. "Mike, can you help stock the front? Tom had to leave early because his babysitter canceled." James saw Sarah step in to cover Tom's duties while still doing her own. No complaints, no drama, just quiet efficiency. "Does this happen often?" James asked Maria as they carried boxes of supplies. "Someone always has something. Sick kids, second jobs, school. We cover for each other," Maria said. "Sarah's the best at organizing it all. She changed her whole schedule last month when Carlos was struggling with therapy appointments." James watched Sarah handle a difficult customer on the phone. Her patience never wavered. He thought about the management reports on his desk, full of numbers and statistics. None of them showed these small moments of humanity. By 4 a.m., his muscles screamed in protest. The morning prep team would arrive soon. Carlos was teaching a new server, Jenny, how to properly close the kitchen. Despite his obvious pain, he took time to explain everything clearly. "You're doing good for your first night," Sarah told James. "This job isn't easy, but we're like a family here. We look out for each other." James nodded, thinking about how different this world was from his corporate office. Here, titles didn't matter. Only hard work and helping each other counted, and this was just his first night. The second night was busier. A large group of customers came in just before closing. James watched Sarah handle the situation calmly. "Kitchen closes in 10 minutes, but we'll take care of you. Please understand service might be a little slower," she told them. In the kitchen, Carlos worked faster despite his visible limp. "Mike, we need clean plates right away," he called out. James's hands were already raw from hot water, but he picked up speed. Maria rushed in with more dishes. "The customer at table 5 says the food is cold," Maria said to Sarah. "I checked it myself when it went out. It was hot." Sarah spoke quietly. "I'll talk to them. Keep an eye on your other tables." Between washing dishes, James observed Sarah handle the complaint. She listened patiently, offered to remake the meal, and gave a small discount. No arguing, no drama. Later that night, during a short break, James sat with Jenny, the new server. She was a college student working 2 jobs. "How do you manage school and work?" James asked. "It's hard. My morning classes start at 8. Sometimes I only get 3 hours of sleep," Jenny said. "But Sarah helps by giving me lighter sections when I have big tests." The security cameras recorded everything. James saw Maria sharing her tips with Carlos after he stayed late to help. He watched Tom come back early from his break to help Jenny with a difficult table. Around 3 a.m., an delivery order came in. The address was far outside their usual range. "It's for the hospital night staff," Sarah explained. "They called saying their cafeteria is closed for repairs. I know we don't deliver that far, but they're always kind to us." James remembered the policy he helped write, no deliveries beyond 5 miles, but Sarah found a solution. "Carlos, can you make the order? I'll deliver it myself during my break," Sarah said. "Let me help," Maria offered. "Those nurses took care of my mom last year." In the dish pit, James thought about how many similar policies he had created, never seeing their real-world impact. A young man walked in through the back door. It was David, a regular delivery driver, looking upset. "My car broke down," David said. "The repair shop wants $300. Sarah checked the cash box. "I can adjust the delivery fees to help you get started. We need you here." James watched her spend the next hour reworking the schedule to give David more deliveries. She made calls to other drivers, asking them to share their shifts. By the end of the night, James's muscles ached worse than before, but he saw something more clearly now. These weren't just employees following rules. They were people solving real problems, helping each other survive. The morning prep team arrived. Sarah was still there, checking inventory and preparing notes for the day shift. "Mike, you did better tonight," she said. "Remember, Sunday nights are usually our busiest." James nodded, knowing there was still much more to learn. The security cameras kept recording, capturing these small acts of kindness that no corporate report could show. The third night brought heavy rain. The kitchen floor was slippery from water tracked in by delivery drivers. James noticed Sarah putting out extra mats and warning signs. "The floor mats in storage are pretty worn out," Tom said. "I've requested new ones twice." James remembered seeing those requests. They had been marked as non-essential expenses. Now he watched his staff carefully balance on worn-out mats. The phone rang constantly. Sarah answered between helping in the kitchen. "Many people don't want to drive in this weather," she explained. Carlos worked the grill with one hand, holding his back. "The humidity makes my old injury worse," he told James. "Maybe you should take a break," James said. "Can't. Jenny called in sick. We're already short," Carlos replied. The security cameras showed Sarah helping David organize delivery routes. "Take the closer orders first. Drive careful, no rushing," she said. Maria came in from serving, her shoes squeaking on the wet floor. "Table 7 needs their order remade." The delivery driver dropped it. Instead of getting angry, Sarah stayed calm. "Accidents happen in this weather. Carlos, can you help with a rush order?" During a quiet moment, James heard Sarah on the phone. "Yes, this is about the medical bill for Amy. I understand it's past due. Could we possibly work out a payment plan?" James saw her hands shaking as she hung up. She wiped her eyes quickly and went back to work. The kitchen equipment was showing its age. The dishwasher made strange noises, and one burner on the stove worked only half the time. "We manage," Carlos said when James mentioned it. "Sarah showed us little tricks to make things work." Around midnight, Tom gathered everyone for a quick meeting. "The company's doing equipment inspections next week," he said. "Will they finally fix the freezer door?" Maria asked. "They only check if things match their list," Sarah said quietly. "Last time, they didn't even look at our maintenance requests." James felt his chest tighten. He was the one who designed those inspection protocols. Later, a delivery driver called about a flat tire. Sarah spent her break picking him up. "We take care of our people," she said simply. James watched her skip her dinner to help Carlos with prep work. The security cameras recorded her sharing her own lunch with Jenny, who rushed in straight from class. "The schedule for next week is tight," Tom said, reviewing the staff calendar. "3 people quit at the other location. They might send some of their customers here." "We'll figure it out," Sarah said. "We always do." By 4 a.m., James saw the true cost of his corporate decisions. Every policy he thought was efficient had real consequences for these people. The rain finally stopped. The morning crew would arrive soon. Sarah stayed late again, helping clean the floors properly so no one would slip during breakfast shift. "Good night, Mike," she said. "Thanks for helping David with his routes." James walked to his car, his body aching. The security cameras kept recording, capturing another night of quiet struggles and small kindnesses. The 4th night started with a problem. The schedule showed 7 staff members, but only 4 came in. 2 called in sick with a stomach bug going around, and 1 had a family emergency. "We still need to handle the regular dinner rush," Tom said, looking worried. Sarah adjusted the floor plan. "Maria, can you handle sections 1 and 2? I'll help run food when needed." James worked between dishes and food prep. His hands had started to crack from constant washing. The burn on his arm from the hot water was still tender. Carlos moved slower tonight. James heard him talking to Sarah during a brief break. "The doctor says I need to rest my leg more," Carlos said, "but my wife's hours got cut at her job." "Let me check something," Sarah said. She spent her break reorganizing next week's schedule to give Carlos more prep work and less standing time. The security cameras showed small moments throughout the night. Maria sharing her break food with a hungry coworker. Tom staying an extra hour when the closing server got stuck in traffic. A customer complained about waiting too long for food. "I'm very sorry for the delay," Sarah said. "We're short-staffed tonight, but your food is being prepared now." James watched her handle the situation with grace, never mentioning the staff cuts that made these shortages common. Around 1 a.m., Ginny rushed in looking upset. "My car wouldn't start. I had to take 2 buses to get here." "You made it, that's what matters," Sarah said. "Take a few minutes to catch your breath." The kitchen printer kept buzzing with orders. James saw Carlos wince every time he had to bend down to get supplies from the lower shelves. "Mike, could you help stock Carlos's station?" Sarah asked. "It'll be easier on his leg." During a quiet moment, James heard Maria talking to Jenny. "How are your classes going?" "Hard to focus when I'm so tired," Jenny said. "But I need this job to pay for books." The security cameras recorded Sarah making quiet phone calls during her break. She was trying to find someone to cover shifts next week when 3 staff members had final exams. Tom came to the dish pit looking stressed. "The repair person can't come until next week. The freezer door is getting worse." "We'll prop it with the rubber mat for now," Sarah said. "Like we did last time." James remembered cutting the maintenance budget last year. He never thought about how staff would handle broken equipment. By 3 a.m., everyone was exhausted but still working together. Carlos taught Jenny some cooking tricks between orders. Maria helped James catch up on dishes during slow moments. "Thank you all for tonight," Sarah said during the closing duties. "I know it was tough with limited staff." James watched her stay late again, making sure everything was ready for the morning team. The security cameras kept recording, showing the real impact of every corporate decision he had made. On the 7th night, James decided it was time to reveal his identity. He arrived early and asked Tom to gather everyone in the break room. "I need to tell you something," James said. "My name isn't Mike. I'm James Morrison, the CEO of Golden Plate Restaurants." The room went quiet. Sarah's tired eyes widened. Carlos stood straighter despite his leg pain. "I came here to understand why our night shift had such high turnover. But I learned much more," James said. He turned to Sarah. "I saw how you manage this place with genuine care. You're not just following policies, you're taking care of people." Sarah spoke softly. "We just do what needs to be done." "That's exactly it," James said. "You do what needs to be done despite the obstacles we put in your way. Worn-out equipment, staff shortages, outdated policies. James looked at each person. Carlos, you work through pain because our insurance won't cover proper treatment. Maria, you handle double sections because we're understaffed. Jenny, you balance school with late nights. Tom spoke up. We thought about complaining to corporate, but forms just get lost. That changes now, James said. Starting next week, we're making real changes. Practical ones. He pulled out a notebook filled with 7 nights of observations. New floor mats and equipment repairs first. The freezer gets fixed tomorrow. We're hiring 3 more night staff members. Carlos shifted on his sore leg. What about the insurance policy? Meeting with our benefits team Monday. We're updating coverage to include physical therapy and better health options, James said. Sarah looked concerned. These changes must be expensive. Less expensive than constantly training new staff. Less costly than broken equipment getting worse, James explained. This isn't charity, it's good business. He continued, Sarah, I want you to help create new policies. You understand what really works on the ground. The security cameras recorded their reactions. No dramatic celebrations. Just quiet relief and cautious hope. Will you stay on as night manager? James asked Sarah. With a proper raise and support staff? Yes, Sarah said. But I need something else too. Better schedules for students like Jenny. More flexible hours for parents like Carlos. Done, James said. I've learned that taking care of our people is the best investment we can make. Over the next month, James kept his promises. The security cameras showed new equipment being installed, new staff members training, Carlos starting physical therapy. Sarah helped write practical policies that made sense for night shift reality. Jenny got a more flexible schedule around exam times. Maria trained new servers, reducing the workload. The changes weren't dramatic or flashy, just practical improvements that made work better for everyone. The night shift started running smoother. Staff turnover dropped. James visited regularly, not as a boss, but as someone who understood. He had learned more in 7 nights than in 7 years of reading reports. The security cameras still recorded every night, but now they showed a different story. One of people working hard, but not breaking. Of challenges met with proper support. Of small changes making real differences. Loved this story? Tap that like button and subscribe to Mystic Tales for more. Let us know how this story made you feel with a single word in the comments.